I will now entertain any motions.
I move that we have some fun.
Any seconds?
I second the motion.
All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. In the eyes of the Chancellor, this motion passes. The chair recognizes Catherine for 6 minutes for a fun activity.
Hello, my friends. Fairy Godmother here. We're so excited for Yes Week. It's imminent. It's coming so soon, less than a month away. We'll be all together gathered in the Assembly Hall of the Everwood Alliance. Isn't that exciting? Aren't you thrilled? I'm so excited. I want to tell you what the most exciting thing is for me, and then I'm going to give you about 30 seconds of complete silence so that you can think about what the most exciting thing is for you, and then you can tell us. So, the most exciting thing for me is that I get to see all of you, and you will be dressed up in all of your beautiful clothes, and I will get to meet some people I've never met before from different areas of the realm, and I'm just so thrilled to be able to meet all of you and gather together. I understand we're going to have a ball. That's going to be a ball, and we're going to have so much fun. And so that is what I'm excited about. And now I'm going to give you just 30 seconds of complete silence because I know some people like to think in silence. So we're going to do that. And then we'll go around and you can tell us what you're excited about. Okay? I didn't even play that annoying Jeopardy music. I just let you have the full silence, huh? Seems like a long time when it's completely silent, but it helps us think. So, does anybody want to start with what they're excited about? Yes, Izzy, tell us.
I'm excited to get to sew costumes and put to use a bunch of costuming knowledge I have and actually use it.
That is so fun, right? We're going to get all dressed up and beautiful. Wonderful. I like putting costumes on people. That's exciting. Anyone else?
I'm excited to get to spend a whole week with my friends.
A whole week with our friends. Yes. Hiram, go ahead and unmute and tell us what you're excited about.
I was gonna say the same thing.
A week with our friends. Couldn't be better.
I'm excited to see Mr. C.
Mr. C! He's so fun! Who wouldn't be excited to see him? Let's see. Claire?
I was gonna say I was excited to see Mr. C as well.
Awesome. We can have the same thing we're excited about. That's okay. Anybody else? No one else is excited, or you just don't know yet what it's about, or you can't decide, or you're thinking, do we need more silence?
I'm excited to meet new people and see friends that I haven't seen in a long time.
Friends and new people. Wonderful. Anyone else? Oh, do tell, Nicholas, what are you excited about?
I'm excited to hear all of you write and debate some hilarious bills.
Oh, so fun, so fun. Anyone else? Joy?
I'm excited because I love the talent show and I can't wait to see all of you doing fun things at the talent show.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we don't need to take up any of the time, the rest of time. If people don't want to share, that's fine. If anybody does want to share, I want to give you a chance right now. Shout it out or raise your hand or something. Otherwise, I will yield back the balance of the time so that we can get started on this wonderful workshop day. Oh, did someone have something they wanted to share? Okay. I will yield back the time then.
I will now entertain any motions.
I move that we discuss follow-up work.
It has been moved that we discuss follow-up work.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
I
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. In the eyes of the Chancellor, this motion passes. The Chancellor recognizes Bonnie for 3 minutes to discuss follow-up work.
Okay, for the follow-up work, raise your hand or give me a thumbs up if you wrote a bill since we saw you last. Izzy! I have to admit, I already knew about Izzy's. Is there anyone else who did? Okay, Izzy, would you be willing to share your bill with us?
yes.
I yield my time to Izzy to share her bill.
Wait, I have to find it. Oh, there it is. Just send it in the group chat or the meeting chat.
Do you want to just read it to us?
I can do that.
That'd be great.
Okay. This is an act to create building codes and regulations to protect citizens from unsafe structures. Whereas in the past years, many incidents have occurred relating to poor construction of homes. Some of these include how homes made out of straw and candy, which are prone to damage by the weather, big bad wolves, and hungry children. For example, 2 of the 3 little pigs who built their homes purely out of straw and sticks lost their homes to the big bad wolf who blew them down. Had they built their homes out of proper materials and techniques, this would not have happened. Being enacted that the Everwood Alliance Assembly, each home is to have a solid foundation that provides strong stability. It is to be built with non-perishable material that is capable of protecting from threats such as water, wind, hail, snow, heat, sunlight, falling skies, freezing temperatures, and big bad wolves. Homes are also to be declared reasonably safe from all such threats by a licensed authority before selling, purchasing, or inhabiting thereof. Such licenses are to be distributed by 3 or more members of the assembly to those who pass a standard knowledge test. Therefore, be it enacted that the aforementioned license may only be given to those who pass a standard knowledge test issued by 3 or more assemblymen. One of the assemblymen must be of the same realm as the citizen seeking to obtain the license. This knowledge test must include questions that ensure the citizen understands the necessary conditions of a safe house. Each license is valid for a period of 30 days. Therefore, be it further enacted, upon the passing of the bill, each house built or created from 5 days after the passing thereof must be approved under these standards and receive the approval of a licensed home authority before they are to be sold or inhabited. Therefore, be it further enacted that if houses are built and sold or inhabited without meeting these standards, they will be formally yoinked by the government. Therefore, be it further enacted that upon passing of the bill, it will be put into effect through the Everwood Alliance after a brief period of 5 days. The bill.
Awesome. Thank you, Izzy. You guys, can we yay for Izzy and writing a bill? That's awesome. Okay, I now yield the balance of my time back to the Chancellor.
Thank you, Bonnie. I will now entertain any motions.
I move that we learn a rhetoric skill and a logical fallacy.
It has been moved that we learn a rhetoric skill and a logical fallacy. Any seconds?
I second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded that we learn a rhetoric skill and a logical fallacy. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. In the eyes of the Chancellor, this motion passes. The Chancellor recognizes Nicholas and Catherine for 10 minutes to review rhetoric skills and logical fallacies.
We can't hear you, Nicholas. Not working.
Now.
That works.
Okay, I will do that then. So over the past few weeks, we've been learning about how to make arguments. We talked about making a claim. We talked about adding reasons and adding evidence and the shared assumptions that we need. And I will now yield 3 minutes of my time to Catherine to talk about logical fallacies.
Hello, ladies. Hello, gentlemen. So excited to talk to you again. We're going to just review quickly what those logical fallacies we've talked about are. If you remember, I started with my little red fish, my little red herring that just comes in around random times and distracts the person who's arguing to try to throw them on track. Remember, that was based on the dogs, throwing out the red fish, the red herrings for the dogs to get them off their scent. Confuse them. That's one way. Another was an appeal to authority, where I claimed an authority figure's expertise to support a claim despite the expertise being completely irrelevant or overstated. And then an appeal to pity, attempting to sway the arguer, the listeners, by provoking emotions that would cause them to feel sorry for someone and distract them from the real issue. An appeal to hypocrisy, where you make a claim that the person who's making this argument does the very same thing themselves. And so who are they to talk? Finally, if you remember, we built our little straw man. Hello. And we made a completely argument that wasn't being made by the other person. And then we set this argument up and then we beat it up and said, see, you're wrong. But it wasn't really their argument. And finally, Jack climbed up the hill and went down the slippery slope, woo, where we said, hey, this is this completely wild, crazy, unrealistic chain of events that are going to result from the action that you have now claimed to try to throw them off. Those are the logical fallacies that we've talked about. And there are more, and you'll learn about them at Yes Week. I yield back the time.
Thank you. So we're going to practice this now. We used the story of the fox and the gingerbread man to illustrate this, and we made an argument. And every time I tried to make the argument that we should do something about these foxes, and every time Catherine won, and I was stumped by her logical fallacies. But this time, I think I'm ready to take on all of the arguments and win this debate. So I wrote out a bill using the same language, so to make my claim more specific. Whereas there have been problems with foxes eating gingerbread men, therefore be it enacted that foxes shall not eat gingerbread men, but shall instead only eat gingerbread cookies. So my claim is that foxes shall not eat gingerbread men. The reason is because they've been causing problems for the gingerbread men in the past by eating them. And my evidence is that the little red hen and the duck saw a fox eating a gingerbread man while crossing the river. And this has been witnessed on multiple occasions by multiple witnesses. Our shared assumption is that we need to protect all of the creatures of our realm. This is my argument. I reserve the remainder of my time, and the opposition may now speak.
I have a great recipe for gingerbread cookies. I reserve my time.
That is wonderful. However, that is not relevant to the argument at hand. That is a red herring. I reserve the remainder of my time.
What about baby foxes in the woods? Who will care for them if their mummies can't? I reserve my time.
That is an important issue, but that is not the issue that we're discussing right now. We're talking about foxes tricking gingerbread men. I reserve the time.
Well, some scientists did research on foxes that show that their eating habits are important to their diet. I reserve the time.
That is quite interesting, but also not relevant to this issue. I reserve the time.
I saw you eating brownies. Don't they come to life too? Aren't you being a bit hypocritical? I reserve my time.
I was not eating living ones. That is also not relevant to this argument. I reserve my time.
So I understood from before that you wanted to eliminate all of the foxes. That is pretty extreme, don't you think?
I was not arguing that. I was only suggesting that we prevent them from eating gingerbread men. I reserve the remainder of my time.
Well, if we do away with foxes, we will be overwhelmed with all the creatures that foxes eat. I reserve the time.
That is also not my claim. Thank you for bringing that up, but I was only arguing that something must be done to protect the gingerbread men from the foxes. So as I was saying, I move that we vote on this bill.
Well, I guess that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you. So we won't vote on this bill here, but we hope that that was a useful and somewhat entertaining recap of all that we've discussed about logical fallacies and rhetoric skills, and that you are now ready to make fun and entertaining and well-constructed arguments at Yes Week in a few weeks. And I yield the remainder of my time.
I will now entertain any motions.
I move that we discuss follow-up assignments and announcements.
It has been moved that we discuss follow-up assignments and announcements. Any seconds?
I second.
It has been moved and seconded that we discuss follow-up assignments and announcements. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. In the eyes of the Chancellor, this motion passes. The Chancellor recognizes Bonnie for 3 minutes to discuss follow-up assignments and announcements.
Thank you, Madam Chancellor. Okay, so the follow-up assignment that you were invited to do this week, if you want to, I wonder if you can guess what it might be. Da-da-da, you could write a bill if you want to. We're going to practice writing bills in a few minutes, and so that will give you a run through, and you can always write more bills, and those can be prepared for Yes Week. Also, we have officially determined who our candidates are who are running in the election. They have all notified us. So for those of you who are running in the election, remember that if you can have your videos, your campaign videos or interviews or bill videos, anything that you make videos with, submitted to us before next week's workshop, we will share those on this call, which will be really fun. We'll all get to watch each other's videos, and it will kick off our election, which will be that next week. Starting a week from today, the ballots will be open for at least the Chancellor and the committee chair positions. So please submit your videos beforehand so that we are ready to watch those on the call. Then for everybody, please vote in the election when it comes next week. And next week is our last workshop. So I hope you guys can all make it. If you've missed any, remember you can watch them on the YouTube channel. And Catherine, am I forgetting anything? Okay. I think that's it. Oh, one other thing is that after this next motion, we are going to have our committee meeting for today. The optional thing that you can stay for is the longest part of our meeting today. It is optional to stay, but we invite as many of you as can and want to stay. We may even go a little past 4 o'clock. We'll just see how far we get. But we're going to practice the whole process of putting everything that we've learned so far all together. So I hope a lot of you can stay for that. And I just wanted to let you know what's to come on this call. Yes, Catherine.
So I want to reiterate Jaden Clark's question, and then I have another comment to make. They ask, what if you cannot make a video this week?
That is okay. It's not mandatory to make a video for anyone or for any candidates running. But if you are running in the election and you don't make a video this week, all that will mean is that we don't get to share it next week on this call to kick off the election.
So I have another suggestion, is that we could give them time next week just to present, not a video, but just themselves. So that you could have the opportunity just to speak like I'm doing right now and present yourself if you wanted to prepare something. Maybe you are in a setting with a background that is appropriate for your realm or something like that, so that you can make your own kind of impromptu online video while we're talking. And would that be all right, Clark? Does that sound like a good idea for you? A way to work for you? You can text it in the chat if you need to answer that way. And Joy says you can also make a short video using a phone. So any of those things, it doesn't have to be super fancy. It could just want it to be. So, and the other question that I have is, if you could raise your hand if you are staying on the call, because I think we need to be able to make sure we're breaking out. So like either do a thumbs up or make yourself visible and raise your hand or something. I just want to. And maybe the other way to do it is I'd rather do it this way actually. So just let me make sure that, yeah, if you thumbs up or put your hand up or whatever. Yeah, okay. So there are a few people who look like they're not staying. Can you take a note of that, Bonnie? Yeah, actually, could you just use the feature, the thumbs up feature, if you know how to do that? And that way she will know, because she's going to assemble you in realms. And then she's also going to assemble you in committees. Yeah. And so, and the thumbs up feature, I don't know how you do that actually. So.
And to be clear, what we're talking about is just staying on this call. We've only had half of our workshop, so it's just if you can stay the rest of the time today. That's what we're asking, not any questions about future weeks.
Yeah. I don't know how to do a thumbs up. Can someone tell me?
Do the reactions. It gives you the
Yeah.
option to do thumbs up.
There we go. Okay. So I, from the looks of it, there seems to be a few of you who will be leaving at this point. Is that true? Like, just making sure. Okay, Abby's coming along. Okay, great. Yeah, along the bottom it says reactions. You can just click on that, and then yeah, it doesn't really matter. You can give us any emoji if you want. There, I gave you a heart and a party. Okay, all right. Just wanted to let Bonnie know so she can have an idea of how to divide us up.
Thank you.
Are you yielding back the time now, Bonnie? Okay.
I will now entertain any motions.
I move that we practice all our parliamentary procedure and bill writing skills.
It has been moved that we practice all our skills of parliamentary procedure and passing bills. Any seconds?
I will second this motion.
It has been moved and seconded that we practice all our skills in parliamentary procedure and passing bills. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, say nay. In the eyes of the Chancellor, this motion passes. The Chancellor recognizes Bonnie for 1 hour to practice debating skills and amendments on the Assembly floor.
Thank you, Madam Chancellor. Okay, guys, I'm excited about this. I hope you guys are too. It's going to take some instructions as we go along. We're going to do a few different segments of activities. And can you hear me, Joy?
Bonnie, we're getting really crackly sound from you.
Okay. Let me see if I can find somewhere to move.
And I'm also not 100%. So if you want to make sure that everybody gets put in a room, and if they need to go, they'll just drop out. But
That's what I'm thinking too. I already have rooms assigned, so we'll just see what happens as we go. Okay. Is my sound getting better?
No, it's like crackly, like you're not connected properly.
Okay, I'll just keep talking and saying stuff. Oh,
we can hear you. It's just crackly all along. So you can so definitely understand what you're saying.
Okay, I don't know. I'll see if I can do something about that in between times. But let me, if you can understand me, let me just give you instructions about this first step. So what we're going to do in this first segment is write bills. And so I have you assigned to breakout rooms. There's one group of people that I don't have assigned to a breakout room, so you will stay in the main room and not be invited to a breakout room. That is so that we can have one of the rooms be recorded. When you are in these breakout rooms, we'll be in there for 10 minutes, and I'll try and give you a 1-minute warning when the time is almost done. The purpose in that 10 minutes is to write a bill. So you're being divided up roughly by realms. You guys got your realm assignments, and you'll be in your breakout room mostly with people from your realm, and your job is to write a bill that ideally would be relevant to your realm, to your fairy tales that are in your realm, or to you and your character in your realm. And the way we're going to do this is I'm putting in the chat right now a link to a document, and this is our bill writing template. And I put at the top, I copied the template 5 different times. I put at the top the name of the realm. And so you're going to go as your group to the realm that you are assigned to on the bill writing template and fill in the template and just write on the document itself, write your bill in 10 minutes. And if you don't get it all the way done, that's okay. And I just wanted to remind you guys too, there are some elements of the template that you don't have to do every single time. So fill in whatever you get to of the template. Make sure you at least have something that can turn into a law, and see how far you get in writing the bill. So before we go into our breakout rooms, what questions do we have?
Where is the template, Bonnie?
I just put it in the chat, a doc in the chat. So everyone, all of you can just click on it and pull it open on your screens. Or if you want to, when you're in your breakout room, one of you could share screen, and so that you could just write all together on one, or one of you can be the scribe. I'll let you guys figure that out in your groups. But go ahead and open that document right now. Any other questions on what we're doing?
So we're just writing in our portion of the chat, wherever it is. I mean, in the document.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep. And just so you guys know, Storybrooke has the least number of members on here, so I am adding Storybrooke to Grimwald. So you can write it under the Grimwald part on the template, but Storybrooke people in the group are getting added to Grimwald. And if the balance ends up really outnumbered, then I can shift it around real quick as we get started. Any other questions on what we're doing? Okay, when the 10 minutes are up, we'll all come back together and move on to the next portion. So I'm going to go ahead and send you to your breakout rooms now. In our main room, we'll still have Andrew, Eliza, Jaden Clark, Emma, and Noelle, and me. Oh, Eliza, I didn't have you assigned because at the beginning Eliza Hester, because at the beginning of the call you were with Hiram. So let me send, you're going to group 2. Let me send you to your room. That sounded terrible. Let me send you to your breakout room.
Go to your room.
Okay, that's room 2. Okay. Okay, so let me just check. So we have Noelle, Anna, Eliza, Andrew, Emma, Miriam. That's a big group. I think Miriam might have you somewhere else, but I didn't. Did I send you there? Miriam, were you invited to another breakout room? Ah, yes, you were. Okay, if Miriam's here, you can join your other breakout room or you can just stay. Okay, so the rest of you can go ahead and start your bill writing. Okay, so somebody, or how about everybody in here, go ahead and take yourselves off mute because this will not work if we stay muted. And okay, if it's quiet enough where you are, you can stay muted if you have some background noise, but I need at least somebody to jump in and say, okay, what should we write our bill about? Or I have an idea or something like that. That's what your job is right now. Who has any idea of a problem that they would need to solve that we could write a bill about? Okay, I saw Clark had an idea of magic regulation as an idea. Okay, who has the document pulled up? Okay, who of the people who pulled up the documents, will someone please scribe for us? Noelle, thank you for volunteering to scribe. Okay, Clark, why don't you share with us some more of your ideas about magic regulation? What should we do?
So I thought of this idea because of how many people get taken advantage in the Grimm fairy tale stories by magic, like not putting in a firm contract, throwing in twists without even putting it in print. They don't even put little tiny letters. They don't do that at all. They will poison people with magic. They trade items for favors, and then they just end up taking advantage of a bunch of different people with magic. And it needs to be regulated a lot more than it is a lot of fairy tale stories.
Okay, so what you just did was describe what could be the preamble to the bill. So I don't have pulled it up right now what you're writing in, Noelle, but let's just go. Noelle, will you kind of lead us through the steps, and what Clark just offered can end up in the preamble part?
Hold on, I wasn't typing in the thing, and just give me a second.
Okay.
If you need me to say it again, then I can make it easier for you.
What we need is to put it into the languaging of the bill. So Go ahead, Noelle, with the first. We'll do one step at a time.
Cool. Wait, Mom, what if you tell me what to write and then I'll write it?
Well,
Or
you
something.
tell me what's the first part that we have to fill in.
Well, okay, the first part is sponsors.
Okay, so Clark is definitely the sponsor. Does anyone else in our group want to co-sponsor this bill with Clark? Okay, what's next?
Did someone say something yet? I didn't hear anyone.
Noelle, do you have what's next?
Oh, what's next? I think it's date. Yeah, date.
What?
The next is date.
Oh, the date. Just write the date in. It's May 6th.
I know. I have to write May, or can I just do 5/6/24?
5/6 is fine. And the rest of you can be following along and definitely speak up if you want to contribute. This is our whole group that can write this bill. Okay, then what?
Okay, then is a basic statement, like the basic.
Okay, so
What?
an act to what? Is that the part? An act to something?
Yeah.
Regulate magic trade.
Regulate magic trade. That's perfect. You just need a really simple thing.
Regulate magic what?
Trade.
Okay.
Okay, then what?
Next is where so. Okay, reasons for the bill.
Yeah. So Clark, can you give us what you gave us again, but in a simplified thing that we can make it maybe a single sentence as like
All
a
right.
reason for why we need this bill.
People are making unfair magic trades and taking advantage of innocent.
Yeah, one more time.
People are taking advantage by using magic trade and taking advantage of the innocent.
Okay. Then next is the definition of terms section.
Okay, if there's anything that needs, well, actually, before we get to definitions of terms, Noelle, let's get to the operative clause, like the main thing of the bill. So what is this law going to do to regulate the magic? I would love it if Andrew or Eliza or Anna or Emma or Miriam could jump in. What do you think the bill should do?
Can you explain that further? Like, what do you mean do? Like what?
Yeah, so you can forbid something. You can say you have to get a license, like the bill Izzy shared. You can say this thing is not allowed in Everwood Alliance. You could say it costs money to do this thing, or only certain people can do this thing. So if you're regulating, you're limiting the scope of what can happen with the trade. And Clark, you're welcome to answer this too, because maybe you already have the idea fleshed out. But what is the bill doing?
The bill would be making it so bill would be restricting on what kind of trade people can do with magic. You can't just take it. You can't just take everything from a person and not trade something good in return. Yeah.
I have an idea for what it would do. I believe that you would have to first fill out a form or whatever you do for government to show that you're a real person and have good intentions about what you're doing, so that you can't just go use it for evil means. So you have to fill out some sort of paper and submit it and tell them that what you're doing exactly, so you can perform it without getting, I don't know, in jail, whatever.
Awesome.
We could do that, or we could also make it so you have to get a license.
By the way, guys, we have just under 1 minute, so we won't flesh out the whole thing, but let's just get these parts down. You can include all of them, all those ideas.
Okay, real quick, what do you mean by trades, or like trade or whatever?
Just a exchange of magical items or
We didn't get to finish, dang it.
So if you are if you're writing a bill, just at least finish up the thoughts of wherever you guys were. Hopefully you got some way. Actually, why don't you guys give me a little bit of feedback of how far you got in the process. Alyssa, Trinity, Sophie, Sammy, in your room.
We only got to the title of the bill and what it was going to be about.
Okay. Could you, if we just had a couple more minutes, just get to like, this is what the bill does, even if you don't write out the whole thing?
We could.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Let's give everybody 5 minutes, Bonnie. Do you think that's too much?
No, I think that's great. Let's do 5 more minutes to wrap up. Does everybody in all your groups think if you had 5 more minutes, and you especially focus on getting to the point? I mean, if you have extra time, great. You can define terms and you can talk about how it's enacted, but at least get to the point of what the bill is regulating.
Okay, just so you know, Sammy is in a different realm. He's in ours for this meeting.
I know. I did end up moving a few people just because the Astoria realm ended up with so many people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jade and Clark need to be re-put in a room too. They said they got kicked out before I did a room thing because bad data. I don't know exactly what they mean, but.
Okay. Okay. I will make sure that they get figured out. Okay. 5 more minutes, guys, and then I will pull you back in again.
Perfect.
Okay, we are back. Noelle, where do we get to at this point with what you have written down?
What do you mean?
Well, you're kind of running the scribe. What's our next thing that we need to?
Well,
clarification on what we're doing.
I missed the full title of the bill. Do we want to skip that for now?
Oh. Yeah, let's make sure we get what the bill does before we write the full title.
Okay, so what do we need to do right now?
Well, did you and Clark and Andrew all had ideas about what the bill could do? So were we putting all those ideas into the bill?
Okay. I don't know.
I mean, we could. And did you get them written down?
No, not all of them. Like, I need a refresh of what I'm supposed to write and where.
Okay. So what do you have down? Like, I should pull it up. We should all just pull it up. That would help.
Also, Mom, this was formatted a little bit weird.
Yeah. Okay. So you got the preamble, right? And now you need to put under, therefore be it enacted.
Yeah.
Under the section of what will happen if the bill passes.
Okay.
That is where you want to put the basics of what the bill does.
So people who want to trade magical items have to do what?
Well, that's what you guys get to determine. Do you want anybody to repeat their ideas?
Well, can we decide on one? Because I don't think it would work for like all of them. Well, I guess it sort of would.
It could, and then the bill can get amended in committee or on the floor if it needs to be. I mean, right now we're just writing it. We don't know what will actually get amended or passed.
Okay. Am I supposed to be using correct punctuation?
No, don't worry about that. We don't have time for that. In fact, we're already halfway done with our 5 more minutes. So
Okay.
most of us get something down.
Okay, so people who want to trade magical items have to get a license and have to have a license and write to someone and like get a basically also a permission slip for each time that they want to trade magical items. Is that right?
Should we also act like things that make it so people can't use evil magic like necromancy or poison?
Yeah, that can be another clause. So Noelle, maybe go to a different clause and put necromancy and poisoning strictly forbidden.
Where?
It would be, I mean, those clauses that they have on the template are just ideas. And so you can just, you don't have to follow all of them. So you can just pick a different one of the clauses and write it in.
What? Why don't you write that in when I finish writing the other thing?
All right.
Okay. So people, okay. In order to get a permission slip, you have to send it to the assembly or to a government representative. But how, like, we need some way to make sure that it's authentic. So, like, I feel like we should have this someone sign it who has a high legal position. So who do we want to have signed it?
By the way, we're down to 1 more minute again, and that's a great question. Who do you think, Noelle?
We could do an assembly member, although I feel like that's easy. Well, maybe we could have. I don't know. I don't know. We could do chair, or I guess committee chair, because I feel like if we assigned chairman that role, that would be a little bit difficult. So we could have a committee chair have to do it, or we could have a committee that is specifically for that.
Well, you pick one and fill it in real quick. And Andrew gave a good title. Go ahead and fill those in because we're out of seconds. Okay, last minute filling in of any last things. How did that go? Real quick, we got thumbs up is a great way to tell me how it went. At least coming along. We got some bills written. Okay, I'm excited. That's awesome. For the next portion of our meeting, so we just did what's called a caucus meeting, and a caucus can be any group of people that have something in common. So you did caucuses mostly by realms today, and wrote your bills, and now we're to the assembly. So we're to the point in the process where we bring the bills to the assembly floor. And at Yes Week, we're gonna have a hopper, like a basket that's called the hopper, that's by the clerk, where you put the bill. Since we're on Zoom today, we just all have it in the same document. And our clerk, our candidate that's running for clerk is Noelle. She's gonna act as clerk today, and she's going to introduce the bills and read to the rest of the group the bills that you guys just wrote. And be paying attention, because in your committees, you'll be debating one of these bills. Okay, and with that, I'm gonna actually turn the time over to Izzy, who's our candidate for chancellor, to run this part of the meeting between Izzy and Noelle to introduce the bills and assign them to committees. Okay, so Izzy, it's all you.
I'm open to any motions.
This would be a good time for someone to move that we read all the bills.
I move that we read all the bills.
Motion has been recognized. Any seconds? Okay. All that agree say aye.
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 All that disagree say nay.
Nay.
In the eyes of the chancellor, this motion passes. I recognize Noelle to present the bills.
Okay. So I just start reading them all. Do I say their number, and do I say the realm?
The realm would be great to know. Yeah, you would introduce it with the number 2. Yes.
Okay.
The number as well.
Okay, Grimwald and Storybrooke, number 3. Sponsors are Clark. Date May 6th, 2024. An act to regulate the trade of magical items. Be it enacted by the Everwood Alliance Assembly, whereas people are making unfair magic trades and taking advantage of the innocent. Therefore, be it enacted that people who want to trade magical items have to have a license and a permission slip signed by a committee chair. Therefore, be it further enacted that necromancy and poisoning are strictly forbidden. Okay, Moonhaven, bill number 4. The title of the bill is Road Safety. Sponsors, Trinity, Kendrick, Alyssa, and Sophie. Date May 6th, 2024. An act to make the roads safer. Whereas, do you need a minute to finish this?
Yeah.
All right. So should I just come back to that one?
Yeah.
All right. Astoria, bill number 5. Pied Piper Protection Act. Sponsors, Isabel. Date, May 6th, 2024. An act to enable certified people to remove children from poor living conditions. Be it enacted by the Everwood Alliance Assembly, whereas in the current state of a town such as Hamlin, the children were forced to do all of the cleaning and chores by the adults who did not treat them well. When the Pied Piper came to town, promising to rid the town of rats, he was told by the king he would be paid for his services. When he returned after providing the said services, he was not paid by the people nor the king. These children are being taught it is okay to lie and steal from people. People like the Pied Pipers should be allowed to take these children and raise them with good, strong morals without legal repercussions. Therefore, be enacted that people who find children in poor conditions should be able to report the living conditions of these children to the new agency called Pied Piper's Children, PPC, where people who have received proper training and qualifications can take in children who have not received proper care. Therefore, be it further enacted, children should have warm homes and time to play, whereas on Hamlin, they do not receive those childhood rights. Children being raised by people with poor morals will also grow up and become their parents. Therefore, be it further enacted, the children will be able to find residence in a loving home and experience childhood to the fullest while being taught to read as well as good strong morals. Okay, Fable Forge, number 6. A temporary adoption bill. Sponsors, Denver, Eliza, and Hiram. Date, May 6, 2024. An act to allow temporary captivity. Be it therefore be enacted by the Everwood Alliance Assembly, whereas we have been away from our friends for a really long time, citizens of the Alliance can temporarily adopt, kidnap another citizen for 30 minutes or less to be approved by citizens from 3 of the 5 different realms, one of which must include a citizen from the adopted citizen's realm and from one of the mentors. Yeah. Okay, and then going back to the one I skipped. Which one was that? 4? Okay. Moonhaven 4, Bill on Road Safety. Sponsors, Trinity, Kendrick, Alyssa, and Sophie. Date, May 6, 2024. An act to make the road safer. Be it enacted by the Everwood Alliance Assembly, whereas there have been so many people who've been kidnapped, robbed, eaten, taken hostage, etc. The roads need to be guarded to stop this. Therefore, be it enacted, checkpoints along the road manned by animus-touched objects that let good citizens pass, but stop those with nefarious intentions and or manned by live guards. Therefore, be it further enacted, checkpoints be built at regular intervals along the roads throughout Moonhaven and a forest guard hired and trained to guard the roads. Do I say I yield my time?
Yeah, that would work.
All right, I yield my time.
Okay, so what's going to happen next is the Chancellor Izzy is going to assign the bills to the committees. And Izzy, I am setting up breakout rooms right now. It looks like we're going to have 3 committees.
Okay.
So we ended up with 4 bills. If we include the one that you and Amy wrote before, which we can, that would be 5 bills. So you can assign 1 to 2 per committee and decide what the committees are called.
I will assign, do I call them by name or by number?
Each bill you would call by number at this point. And the committees you could name, but also give a number, committee 1, 2, or 3, so I can take note of which bill is going to which committee.
Okay. I'm going to start off with the third bill number 3, to regulate the trade of magical items. I think this will go to the committee of trade and products, and we'll call it committee number 1. And then have bill number 4, which is an act to make roads safer. It'll go to the safety committee, or the second committee. And I think the bill that me and Amy wrote, wait, what was it for? Would that be number 2? Did we get a number?
Noelle, did you assign a number to Amy and Izzy's bill?
I did not, because I do not have access to it, but it would be number 2.
It'll be 2.
Okay. Okay, and I'll assign bill number 2 to the safety committee as well.
Okay.
I'm going to assign bill number 5 to, I'll call it the People's Committee, and that'll be group number 3. And bill number 6 to the People's Committee as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Izzy and Noelle. That was great. Let me turn my video back on and give you guys instructions for the next step. So we're going to move into committee meetings. I have breakout rooms set up the way I had to do it. Everybody got assigned to a breakout room. So the breakout room 1, if you are invited to go to room 1, ignore the invitation. I'm going to have you guys stay in the main room. And that was just the way it had to work out. So room 1, don't actually go. Just stay in the main room. Rooms 2 and 3, if you're invited to those breakout rooms, go to those meetings. Let me just tell you a little bit about how the rooms are set up and what we're going to do, and then we'll go to our breakout rooms. This might end up being the last thing we do today is get through committee meeting, and we can save the floor debate for next week. So in room 1, we're going to have Denver acting as the committee chair, and it's the Trade and Products Committee. You'll have Bill 3 to debate and discuss. Room 2 will be Alyssa acting as the committee chair. It's the Safety Committee, and you will get to choose as a committee between Bill 2 and Bill 4. Izzy, can you share the link in the chat to your Bill 2? And then Alyssa, go ahead and grab that link and pull that up so that you have access to that bill. And then in room 3, that will be Sophie's committee. You're the People's Committee, and you will be deciding if you're going to debate and discuss Bill 5 or Bill 6. So should we do 10 minutes or should we do 15? Because if we needed 15 to write the bills, we probably need that to discuss. Let's go ahead
I suggest 10, and then you can extend it.
And check.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do 10, and then we'll check and see if we need 5 more minutes. The goal is to have a simplified short debate in your committee meeting. And when I give the 1-minute warning, if you haven't voted yet, somebody real quick make a motion that we can vote on it. Or if we're just really not done, we'll just give a few more minutes and continue from that. But the goal is by the end of this meeting to vote on at least one bill. And what you're voting is, does this bill pass the committee and go back to the assembly floor, or does it fail in committee? And it's okay. Vote however you want to vote. Debate it however you want to debate it. You can amend the bill. It's up to you guys in committee. The committee chair will run the meeting, but it's all the committee members that get to make the motions and decide what happens with these bills. Before we go, does anyone have any questions about this next step?
As the committee chair, should I treat this like it's a new meeting, or should I just act like it's a continuation of this meeting?
So it would be a new meeting, and you would open the committee meet, like the committee meeting is now in session, kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Okay, remember, if you are invited to group 1, just stay in the main room. If you're invited to room 2 or 3, go ahead and go. And there's an adult in each room, so if you need any questions to ask the adults, you can do that too.
I have a quick question.
Oh, go ahead, Sophie.
What room am I going to again?
You're in room 3, the People's Committee.
Okay.
And discussing bills 5 and 6.
So
5
Bonnie,
or 6. Yeah, Catherine.
Real quick, they're going to come in. Their committee chairs are going to say, "Debate is now in session."
They'll open the meeting and then entertain a motion about which bill to discuss.
Okay, so they're following the same procedure that they were in the bigger thing when they did this. Just like we do normally, just like the chancellor has done. The committee chairs will follow the same procedures the chancellors have done.
Yeah, and we specifically practiced it on one of our workshops. I think workshop 2, we did committee meeting. No, workshop 3, we did committee meetings. So we want it to flow kind of like that, where you can have a debate and people can yield time to each other to have the discussion about the bill. People can bring up amendments, that kind of thing. That's what we're going for.
Perfect.
And if anybody is like SOS, just send me a text and I'll try and help from there too. Okay, we're ready to go? Okay, have a good time at your committee meetings.
Has everyone accepted their meetings? Like, is this everyone we have?
Not quite. Let's see who.
If we got one, we're supposed to stay here, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, did Catherine just go? Catherine was in here, but it looks like she went. So Andrew, Clark, Hiram, Denver, Trinity, Claire, Joy, Zarin, if he's, I don't know where Zarin went, but yeah, this is the right group. We are ready to go, Denver.
Okay. I guess I would just go straight into a quorum being present, the meeting will come to order. I will now entertain any motions to discuss bills.
I move to know which bill we're supposed to be talking about. To have you tell us.
We're talking about Bill 3.
Okay.
Because that's the only bill we were assigned as the. I guess we were the resources or whatever, marketing. I don't know.
Okay, regulation of magical items. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I move that we discuss the regulation of magical items. Is that what we're supposed to say?
Yeah, something like that. Are there any seconds to the motion?
I second the
second.
motion.
It has been moved and seconded that we discuss the bill on regulations of magical items. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. In the eyes of the committee chair, this motion passes. I will now open the floor here. Wait, let me open the bill for a second. We have. I guess I will now open the floor to Clark for opening statements on this bill, as he is the sponsor.
Right, supposed to do what, like,
Sorry, what was that?
what am I supposed to do?
So you will I guess you'll start off with some opening statements about why you think this bill is important, saying how you sponsored the bill. You'll be on the side of passing it. And after you're done, you say you'll say you'll reserve your time, and then after you reserve your time, we will pass it to an opposition's. We'll pass it to. I guess actually no. I think we're supposed to. Do we just go straight into voting on if we think this bill should pass, or do we have to discuss
Seems like
it
we
first?
can
Bonnie?
bring up questions. That's what I
Yeah.
want to know. Do you say point of information, or what do you say when you want to have a question?
That's
Yeah, so-
point of information is when you need information about the thing you're discussing.
Okay.
That's right. And after Clark has done his opening statement, it's like the discussing of the bill is already the motion on the table. So at that point, other people can seek recognition to speak in favor or in opposition to the bill once Clark is done. So at that point, Denver could say, is there anyone else who wishes to be recognized or something
Yeah.
like that? So that debate can continue and you can speak for or against.
Yeah. So I recognize Clark for a minute to discuss to speak on the topic of the Bill 3.
Thank you. So the reasons why I think it's supposed to be is because people are being taken advantage of. And trade. I can bring up so many examples, but like witches, still skin, console. There's a lot of stories where people are getting to take advantage of, not knowing what they're actually getting into before getting into the trade. And research the rest of my time.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in opposition or yeah. Yep. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this bill?
How do I say I want
You say, I think you just say Mr. something like Mr. Chancellor. We don't have to worry about the phrasing too much right now. Just be like, Mr. Chancellor, I'd like to speak to the bill or something, and then
Mr. Chancellor, I'd like to speak to the bill.
I recognize the gentleman from North Carolina to speak on the bill for 1 minute.
Yeah, so I don't think this bill is a very good idea because well, okay, I think it's a good idea, but it depends on who's citing whether the trades are unfair and who's determining who's innocent. Because those are very loose terms. I think if this bill would to be passed as a law, we need to define those terms, and like I agree that stuff like that can happen. We just have to make sure that those terms are correctly defined before we can just let this, loosely pass. And I guess that's all I have to say on that.
I will now open the floor. Yeah, once you're done, you'll say I reserve my time, or you'll say I yield my time back to the Chancellor.
I yield my time back to the Chancellor.
I will now entertain. I guess if I want to push the meeting towards, because with the way Hiram's saying it, it sounds like he's just trying to make an amendment to the bill.
Well, I have a question. So maybe his is a question as how are you going to define your terms? Maybe that would be a question. And I have a question also. But how would you enforce this? I mean, how do you propose this bill actually be enforced? Who's going to be the one? How are you going to have the licensing and permission slip? And what happens if people do, trade magical items without having a permission slip? What's going to be the consequence, and who's going to, enforce it? How's it going to be enforced?
Good question. So I think trying to remember what all of because there's a lot for me to remember here, guys. I think I need to
say something like, the gentlewoman from so and so has said this question. Does anyone have any response to it, or blah blah blah? Or something like that.
Because we're trying to move it to the point where we can pass the bill, and if we don't see it as a correct bill now, we need to move to amendments. So I think I'd say something like, I'll now entertain any motions to amend Bill 3 or something like that, and then if somebody wanted to add an amendment onto the bill, then they would. Yeah.
Yeah, say that.
Yeah. Well, I said it, so that counts.
I second the motion. I don't know, how do you just say?
So I'm entertaining any motions to attain. So then you would say I motion. Somebody would say I motion, and somebody says I second the motion, and then I would.
Okay. I move that we amend the bill to have a lot more details on how it will be actually enforced and carried out, because it isn't at this point. It's not usable. We can't. It's not. It can't function. It wouldn't be able to function as a law. That's my movement.
Are there any seconds to the motion?
I second
this motion. Can I clarify something real quick?
Yeah.
I love where this motion is going. That's great for discussion. That's not necessarily the same thing as proposing an amendment. So maybe this motion is to discuss possibilities for an amendment. And then there would need to be a proposal for an amendment, because amendments are specific, either adding, taking away, or substituting words to the actual bill. So maybe we're discussing something that we want to add in or something. But right now, there's a difference between let's discuss what an amendment could be, and I propose an amendment. So right now we're more in discussion mode.
So it'd be I motion that we discuss
Yeah.
amendments to the bill.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I recognize Joy to talk about. You're the one that motioned. Who else am I supposed to recognize?
Okay, guys, you have to help me.
I guess out of it, is there anyone else that would like to speak so we don't have to just have me and Joy talking the entire time? Claire, you look like you want to
Hiram is to just let Denver and Joy keep discussing.
Anyone?
I think Hiram has some good things to bring up.
I think Hiram would have some good things to bring up. It's true. He is the one that originally said that there was more we needed to add on to it.
By the way, this is our 1 minute warning for everybody to come back.
We're not ready. What do you mean?
I know, but we're just gonna come back and see how everyone's doing.
If anyone did better than this, I'm so surprised.
I think if we had to leave now, we would say this is not. We have to kill it now because it's not ready. This isn't ready to be voted on.
Yeah.
Okay, so your committee will ask for 5 more minutes of committee meeting then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we still have a minute, so I recognize Hiram to speak on amendments to this bill.
Or suggestions or discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, suggestions for amendments for, I don't know, the remainder of the time.
Okay. Okay, well, some problems I can see are just like basic definitions of like magic trades, I mean, that's a very broad term of like everything. I mean, I think we should define magic because in the real world we have magicians who perform magic. So we should define that term. That's a suggestion of something we can amend. We should also define unfair magic trades, because that to me sounds like an opinion instead of something that like needs to be done. We should define what unfair means.
Yeah, well, the meeting, everyone's back, so we'll pause for a second.
Okay.
Until we get more time, hopefully.
Awesome. Okay, so the Trade and Products Committee has shared that they would like an extension on their committee meeting time. How about the Safety Committee, Alyssa?
We actually voted on our bill and it passed.
Excellent. Okay, great. And how about our People's Committee? Sophie?
We need a little bit more time.
That's great. How about Alyssa in your committee? We'll go ahead and take 5 more minutes of committee meeting. And Alyssa, you guys go ahead and debrief, like just talk amongst yourself about the process and what you're learning and that kind of thing. Just talk about it. Okay, so we'll do 5 more minutes that I will open all rooms for and try and get to a vote within the 5 minutes on at least something, even if it's an amended something or vote to kill it and not recommend it to the assembly.
Clark and Jade say, how did they fix everything and vote in 5 minutes?
Right? Well, okay. In reality, in the House of Representatives, committee meetings are a couple hours long at their shortest. And at Yes Week, I will at least propose to the other mentors that committee meetings not be 10 or 15 minutes long, because it is simply not long enough, even if we really feel like we know what we're doing. It's only for the purposes of workshops that we're being so short. So don't stress if you're like, that was not enough time, because we understand that.
This is really just for going through the motions.
Yeah, just practicing getting familiar with it all. Hiram, did you have a question before we go?
No, I was just gonna clarify that as well.
Yeah. Okay, then see you in a few more minutes. And again, don't join if you're room 1 people.
Okay, quick. Room 1. Let's do this. I don't feel like we have. much
Okay,
time.
so we will continue. Hiram, did you have anything else to add?
No, no, I was just well, just a little bit more.
Okay.
Just for like I was saying before, define unfair, and we should also like define like who it's being fair to, like the parties involved, and I think we should clear up like what's fair. Like obviously if there's like money involved, we should clear that up so that no one's getting more in that. And so that's all I just wanted to clarify. I guess I yield my time back to the chancellor.
So now that we have some things that we want to, I guess we have what we want to change about the bill. So I think we'd move on to somebody actually motioning to amend, and then we take a vote on that amendment. So with the bill, with the amending, you can either strike, add, or replace, I think. So it's like you can swap something or remove something or add something.
Wait, so don't we have to like write this? Like we need to say, wait, we have to define what magic is. We have to define what
Yeah.
energy is. We have to define. So we have to like write.
Yeah, we have to continue the discussion.
Guys,
We just don't-
you need to help us.
We just don't have that much time, and nobody's
know.
saying anything. Anyways, okay.
Say we kill the bill.
I second the motion.
All those in favor of killing, it has been motioned that we kill the bill.
What is the ramifications of that? What does that mean? Does that mean that this bill can be brought up later again?
No,
If it's gonna be
it's just
rewritten?
saying that this bill is getting denied.
Yeah, I think
If we wanted to take this bill into consideration for later, I think there's a specific way we do that. But this bill is just not solid enough to take into consideration. It's basically what they're saying.
yeah, like you said before, Sister Petty, I think that's why we should kill it, because there's just not enough clarity about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It has been motioned that we kill the bill. Are there any seconds to this motion?
Second.
I second the motion.
Second.
There are several seconds. It has been motioned and seconded that we kill the bill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. And in the eyes of the committee chair, this motion passes. Okay, so I think it's really important that when we're doing like as just like this is like out of this now because we're done. No more meeting. I think it's important that when writing a bill, you make it very clear. And actually, I know we didn't have that much time, but I think this is just important for the entirety of Yes Week. Like this is actually a good bill. I think it's just that you want to make sure that we're clear with everything so that it can just be changed. It can be just amended slightly. Because when you're amending something, you're not supposed to change the entire bill through that amendment. So if
I
you're going to
agree.
write a bill, make sure it's solid enough that it can stand up within a thing and still take slight adjustments. So yeah.
Yeah.
But
I was helping with that bill, and I had ideas to make it all right and stuff, but we just didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
Or
There was
the cooperation. Whatever.
there wasn't much time. And the important part of this was that we just practice this type of thing. Like it's not important that we actually pass any bills or do anything like that. But it is a good bill.
So I have a question about that. So when we're at Yes Week, I know maybe I should know the answers, but this is Bonnie. Is we can be writing bills together as committees. I mean, we can write bills together. We don't have to have all the bills written before we come.
Yes, yeah. Bills can be proposed and ran in meeting.
So we can create a group and say, hey guys, we need to write a bill and we need help writing it. So everybody help us figure out what we're going to say and what are the consequences and who's going to enact it and where are we going to get the money and what's the
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Okay.
And the thing about committees is that they're supposed to be done, like everything in the committee is done for the good of the people. So when you're passing a bill and creating a bill within the committee meeting, all of you are there for the same purpose. So if your committee is regulation of trade and goods, then your goal is to regulate trade and goods no matter what. So you're all working towards the same goal. Maybe you have different ways of getting to that goal, but you're still you should still be working together to the same goal.
Sorry, Denver, let me just say we got one more minute and I'm calling people back. So just know as they're discussing this
Yeah.
last one, people are coming back.
We're done. We're just talking.
So, when you're on the committee, so when there are committees, is there a committee that's already like set up? Or is the committee going to be set up depending on the need of the bill? Like, is there going to be a bills created that, or a committee created according to, oh, we have a bill about this, so we're going to create a committee for that? Or
As far as I was aware, a committee, there will be several general committees that will be created, and that's what the committee chairs are for, is that they'll be over the separate committees. So if there was a safety committee, then you would find a character that was into the whole safety thing. And then you'd put them in charge of that committee, and that committee would be set up, and they would take all bills related to safety that were motioned and that were all motioned to be passed type thing.
Okay.
So
So just that they'll just take the category, whatever the bill is written,
Yeah.
they're going to go to that committee.
I don't think we're creating committees just on the fly. I think we're assigned. I'm not exactly sure how it's being placed though.
I would agree with everything Denver just said, but the vision I have is that we'll have the committees already figured out before Yes Week. We did it on the fly for this, just based on what bills came up.
And hopefully they're general enough to cover all of the bills.
Okay. All right, because that's curious, because I'm like, what if someone, like if you have a committee chair that's over this thing, there's a committee form, but what if there's somebody over here that wants to do a safety bill? Do they go to that committee then? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Well, all you'd have to do is it would go to you would create a bill with whoever you wanted. It could be anybody. You just have to have somebody within a committee that is actually helping write the bill, and then that sponsors the bill, and then that bill would be sent to the floor, and then the clerk on the floor would send it to a committee to get discussed in that committee.
But they wouldn't go to it themselves? They wouldn't go to that committee to help?
Well, that's the thing is a media person could come up to somebody in a committee position and be like, hey, I want this bill. Could you help me write it and sponsor it? Then it would get sent out. That media person couldn't talk about the bill in the meeting. It would just get discussed without it. Like when people are passing bills, like actually, if a citizen puts a bill out, it gets sent through all of the pipes, and if it makes it to the final place, the citizen doesn't get to come in and talk about their bill. They just discuss what they see there.
Okay.
I again endorse everything Denver's saying, and I would add that there is a feature in the real House of Representatives where you can have a hearing on a bill or on a topic that is a different thing than the committee markup on the specific bill, and that can be more information gathering, and that would be the time to hear from the public. We have not implemented that in our Yes Week plans as a given, because we didn't want to have time to train on that. However, there's absolutely no reason why we couldn't have committee hearings be a thing.
I think we should.
And that would be a time where if you're not on the committee, but you were a co-sponsor on the bill, or you're a member of the media, or you're a private citizen with an interest in that particular bill, you could absolutely attend the hearing and speak at that hearing. And that's something that could totally happen.
Bonnie, could you get the rest of us up to speed on what you're talking about?
Yeah, so this discussion was going on between Denver and Joy. Actually, Denver or Joy should talk about it. I kind of just jumped in.
Well, we were talking about, I brought up during our committee meeting because we had killed the bill pretty quickly after we got back, that it's very important to be clear with your bills when you're writing them. So the base of this conversation started from me talking about how writing a very clear bill so that it can actually be discussed and amended throughout the process of passing the bill is very important. So we were just basing it off of that.
And then we were just talking about, I was asking, so if someone wrote a bill, do they get to go to that committee, whether so are people assigned to a committee, or do they just go to a committee that they have something that they want to discuss to that committee? Or is it pre-assigned committees? Like, I don't get to go, if I want to write a safety bill, do I just go to the safety committee meeting, or do I have to go to one other meeting that I've been assigned to? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, people aren't always going to be in meetings and writing bills too. That's an important thing, because not a media person won't be with actually
Right, but if
in
I'm an
a committee
assemblyman, let's
meeting.
say I'm an
Yeah,
assemblyman who's writing a bill, do I get to go to the committee I want to go to?
I think
Hey,
you'd,
Nicholas?
you'd pass it on to the committee, and you would be whichever committee you were assigned to it.
Do you want to speak on that, Nicholas? How you guys did that?
As far as I know, the committees were just assigned. So you would go to whichever committee that you were assigned to. And I guess that would mean you would work. We would probably need to look into this a little bit more and decide. But it seems like you would work with somebody assigned to that committee and get them to sponsor your bill. And then
Yeah,
we all
that's
discuss it together at the end. Because all the committees, for our purposes, will be meeting at the same time. In the real House of Representatives, they can schedule their meeting, I guess, whenever they want. But for us, we'll be meeting together and then meeting in committees all at the same time. So you'll only be in your committee.
So in an ideal world, you would get a co-sponsor from the actual committee, and you'll know what your committees are. So you'll get a co-sponsor from that committee, and they'll advocate for your bill if you wanted it. And this is how it works in real life. A lobbyist comes and gets somebody to do it, or a citizen can write a bill actually and get a senator or a assembly person to do that, so that then their voice gets heard on the assembly floor. And Denver's right. You want to be very articulate in what you say. You want to lay out the details really clearly. Nicholas and I kind of gave that display when he was, given just kind of random, we got to do something. That's not enough. You got to say exactly what you want to do, time limits, all those other kind of details. You're trying to prevent another person from being able to knock your bill off. And if your bill's too vague, they'll just vote it down. Nah, we don't want that. And we're not going to do it. And so you want to make sure you're really clear, but getting that co-sponsor from the committee is how you'll do it there. Joy, did you want to speak to that?
So I'm just thinking about, and I'm just as clueless as any of the other students here. So if I'm going to Yes Week and I have an idea for a bill, do I have to write it separately somewhere else? Or am I going to go to committees and we're going to write bills together as a team? I mean, I guess I'm kind of wondering, in the House of Representatives, are they assigned a committee, or do they get to decide what committee they go to? And then are they writing bills together in committee, or are they writing them out of committee? I mean, when do we do this?
So I can speak to that. In real life, people with expertise are often put on certain things. So you're going to get some lawyers on the judicial committee, or you're going to get previous builders on this, or you're going to get some healthcare people who are formerly in healthcare on that. We don't have that level of expertise here. And so for the sake of learning, that's what our point is doing here. There are a couple of options that we could do. One thing is that you can give them the opportunity to be on a committee one day and give them an opportunity to be on a different committee the next day, and we could assign that. And the other option is that they can be on committees, but like we said before, the committee writing is the writing is probably going to happen in the committee. But if you want to give them time in their realms to discuss things, then they can do that and send it with a realm member to the specific committees that they're part of. And I think that if we I don't want to use up their time right now, but we've laid this out to you guys. So do the kids who are on this call have an opinion? The choices are, when are you going to write your committee, your bills? And what would you like to be in the same committee, or would you like to mix it up and be at different committees, different days? Remember, there's some continuity going on. So if you leave a committee, you're kind of starting over every day. That might be a drawback to doing that. So did Jade and Clark want to say something?
Yeah, I was about to say that maybe we should have it be based on a character's expertise subject. Like, what do they care about? Like, not the specific people, but like their own characters. Like, my character is all be really big into trade, making sure everyone's treated fairly.
Yeah, that's so like the third little pig would be on the building committee or something.
Yeah, that's a good point. Denver, did you have a comment?
As to just the idea of should we like swap it up and stuff, I personally as somebody that is running for committee chair, I think it'd be confusing to just kind of like change what you were at where you were at every day.
Yeah.
I think it's much better for our learning, and instead of just having to learn the basics every single day differently, if we get to learn all the basics at the beginning of the week and then just go for the rest of it, I feel like that would be much more convenient for that.
Yeah.
But
That's a
my
good
thought.
point. So good point made by Clark as well. Anybody else have any thoughts or suggestions regarding this issue?
I agree with Denver since I'm running for committee chair also. It just seems to like add a little bit more confusion, especially like with some of the different chairs.
So, and I like the idea of the character, letting your character's expertise or perspective kind of have some sway. So we can do that, Joy, when we are creating committees.
Do we want them to have a voice? Like, do we want them to speak up and say, hey, I really care about safety, or hey, I really care about, or do we just decide that we assign?
Yeah, we can maybe preliminarily decide, and we can figure that out.
Okay.
Does anybody else want to speak on that topic? I don't want to take too much time, but it is nice to be in a group like this when an issue like this comes up, to be able to get your opinion so that it runs the way you guys feel like it should. So if anybody else has anything to say, jump in.
So when it comes to the creation of the committees, and like using our characters as our base standard for where we're going to put our people in our committees and stuff, I think that's a really good idea. And I like it, but it's also really difficult. I don't know if we have people that all have enough of the same interests all the time type thing. Like if we're really putting it in the case of we're putting everybody in committees based on where their character has similarities and like expertise in things, I don't know if there's enough like general expertise amongst characters to do that. I think there's probably a pretty decent amount, but I don't know if there's enough to always, like my character Abu, where on earth would you put him?
Well,
you can't.
We'll find you a place. Abu.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know,
it's like you can't get a specific spot, right? Like my character's just a mischievous monkey. There's not going to be a mischief committee. Like that's not going to be exactly what's going to happen. But
animal rights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that for the most part, I think when we don't want to get sidetracked by too much by those details. The bottom line is you're going to be in a committee and you're going to get to do the process you just practiced. And the practice that you just had you should put that information in the back of your mind as you go through the next 3 or 4 weeks and realize like, oh, we're going to be doing this. As you read stories, as you think about this, you'll come up with ideas for things. And we had discussed this before, but making it have an effect at the SEM makes the information that you discuss more fun, and it makes passing the bills change your experience in ways that make it real for you. So figuring out a way to do that, like just think, how is this actually going to affect our SEM? And I think if you answer those questions, if you're able to answer those questions, you'll have more, you'll make more progress and have more fun. So, and I don't want to take any more time on this. I think Bonnie, I'll give it back to you. And
great. Let me just ask from those 3 committee meetings, if we adjourn the meeting until next week, which we need to do in the next few minutes, do you have enough notes on the bills or from what happened in the committee meeting that next week at our workshop we could pick up with these bills and which ones got recommended to go back to the assembly floor and which ones got killed, so that we can then do the last part of our practice, which is the debate on the assembly floor? Did that all happen? Or at least the committee chairs will remember enough about what happened? Okay, I'm seeing some thumbs up. Okay, good. So that's what we'll do. Next week, we'll have the debate on the assembly floor on at least one of those bills that got recommended through committee, and we'll kind of finish up this practice. I also got a lot of feedback about what was working and what was still having a lot of questions. So we have some resources to help you guys with some of the things that we've discussed in some parliamentary procedure, and we will come prepared next week to talk about those things and also to have some videos or spiels for the campaign. Also, I just want to let you know, if you are running, especially for chancellor or committee chair, after we're done with the workshops, we can continue to work together between that time and Yes Week to make sure we could do more practice session Zoom calls, or we could do, you know, whatever. I want to make myself available to help you guys feel really prepared for Yes Week. With however far we get to workshops, we can then practice some more after that. That's why we're holding the elections with a couple weeks to spare. Denver, what question did you have?
Oh, I was just wondering which bills actually got passed because
Oh, that's a good question. So for your committee, Denver Bill 3, what happened?
We killed it pretty quickly after we reconvened.
Okay, and then Alyssa, for the safety committee, did you discuss Bill 4 or Bill 2, and what happened?
We chose Bill 2 and it passed.
Okay.
I'm glad.
Sophie, for the People's Committee, which did you discuss and what happened? Is Sophie still here?
We voted on and passed 2 bills.
Oh, both of them.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So next week when we debate on the assembly floor, Izzy will be running that part, and we can start with deciding which bill we're going to debate between 2, 5, and 6 that got recommended from committee.
Wait, you actually passed the temporary adoption bill?
They modified it.
We modified it, but it passed.
That's pretty incredible, actually.
So are those, here's the next question. On the doc where the bills originally were, did you guys put the amendments in? Right on the bills?
I put it in a weird way. I was doing the typing, and so I'll need to go back and fix that. But I did that so that they could keep talking.
Okay, that's perfect. We could, someone on the committees, on each of those committees, if you have amendments to change, if you could change right in that doc, then we'll be ready to hit the ground running next week. And we'll discuss the bills as they were amended in committee.
Yeah, so the committee passing it in committee doesn't mean that it's passed. It means that it passed committee, but then we have to go back and discuss it with the whole group.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And bills can die at any point. So they can not get off the ground in the idea stage, or then they cannot be referred to committee, or then when they're in committee, they could be not referred to the floor. And then even if they pass the House, then they have to go to the Senate and the chief executive. So there's a lot of ways that the bill can die. So just, if you write a bill, don't get your heart set that means it will for sure pass. Some of them will and some of them won't. And some of them will change so much that you don't like what passes anyway. All of those things can happen. We just don't know. But we will consider that the bills that we wrote today, even if they were written quickly and in rough draft form, they are part of our Yes Week bill repertoire. And then there will be, of course, more that you can write beforehand or at Yes Week. So I think you guys did amazing today. I'm so pleased and impressed with how much we got done and how much learning happened. And I mean, even though it was quick, look how much we accomplished in just a few little sessions and breakout rooms. And you guys are making a lot of progress. So I think it's great. If anyone has any questions or feedback over the next week before we have our last workshop, go ahead and send us emails or texts, or, just reach out if you need anything. And remember, candidates' videos for next week. Again, reach out if you need any help that way, and let us know if you have a video done so we can share it. Anybody have any last things? Denver.
Vote for a bill for committee chair.
Perfect. On that note, I move that we adjourn this meeting until next week, May 13th at 3 o'clock.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
No. All right. Great job, guys. We'll see you next week.
Aye.
Thank you.